Good morning, everybody. Hopefully you can hear me. It sounds like it's echoing nicely. We've got a lovely room today for sound, acoustics, everything that's going to go on today. My name's John Myers. I'm your chair for the day, host, whatever you want to call me. Hopefully something nice as the day goes by. I'm here to keep it all on time and make sure that you guys get a great experience out of this whole event. And obviously, if I want to open up with just a few minutes just to welcome you guys to what should be an action-packed day. We have a great lineup of speakers. Obviously, this is brought to you by Click Consult, and we thank them for taking the time as a business to put this on and bring together some great content, some great speakers, and thank you to you guys for taking some time out of what are always busy schedules to come down and see what's going on in the industry. We've got some wide-ranging, variant different topics to get into. A couple of panel discussions as well around mobile, around UX. Obviously, we're going to dive into SEO. We're going to dive into PPC. We've got content to cover, paid media to cover. The list is endless. If you guys want to know what's coming, obviously, if you haven't found it by now, it's on the back of your badge. There is a full lineup there. So obviously, I'd ask for you guys to, if you can put your mobiles onto silent. Appreciate you still need to keep an eye on what's going on in the office, but speaker's worst thing is when the mobile phone rings in the middle of a presentation, as we all know, and we've all been there and done it. Obviously, the hashtag for the day is benchmark search conf. Please, please, please do share what's going on. Let's try and get some tweets rolling through the Twitter wall throughout the day. If there's some good numbers and some good content, it always leads to good tweets. So please take the time to get involved with that. Obviously, the sign of the times that we live in, I talk about the hashtag first, and I'm going to talk about the Wi-Fi. So obviously, the Wi-Fi code, if you haven't got it yet, is TBH in capitals. That's TBH, event, and then 14, TBH, event 14, if you guys want to log on to the Wi-Fi as well. So as I say, we always cover those first. Then I come to the bit around, obviously, health and safety and fire and stuff like that, because obviously hashtags and Wi-Fi are more important these days. But in all seriousness, if there is an alarm or there is anything like that, obviously exit through the back doors. Please sort of muster outside the building at the front where you came in through the front doors, and we'll obviously check everybody's okay. But we're not expecting too many fires, hopefully. But it's always good to cover that one off. As I say, there's a pretty full agenda. As the host, I get to have an opinion as well, and I am the first speaker of the day. I get to introduce myself. So, as I say, I'm going to try and keep this all on time. We've started a little bit late, so I'm going to whiz on through and make sure I let the speakers have their time as well. And obviously, our first speaker after me will be James Murray from Microsoft. So I'm John Myers. I'm from Marin Software, and I'm going to talk to you for the next sort of 10 to 15 minutes around a topic called unifying search with performance media. And I'm just going to grab a clicker, because then I can click and talk at the same time. And we're off and running, we're working, good. So basically, first of all, just a quick bit just to set some scene. For any of you guys that don't know what Marin is, Marin, we're a technology platform. We supply SaaS technology to enable our customers to run performance marketing campaigns. We have around about $7.2 billion now going through the system, annualized. So it's a huge chunk of the search ad spend market. It's about 14%. Of the market flows through our service. So we love data. We have huge amounts of data going through the system. So to give you guys more context, because I'm going to go on to talk about topics around data and share some data that we see. We like to kind of get stuff out there and give you guys the ability to see what we see in the marketplace. The platform now covers search, social, and display advertising, and ultimately the idea is to make it easier for you guys to deliver your campaigns and performance uplifts across whatever disciplines that you might be running. We love data ultimately, and that's what I want to go on and talk about, because we talk a lot about silos. I mean, how many presentations or conferences have you guys been to and probably seen a picture of a silo? For some reason, they're all American silos. No offense to the Americans out there, but for some reason, the Americans make better looking silos for presentations than us Brits make. So the silo cliche is clearly where we stand. I mean, for years now, and I'm coming up to my 20th year in digital, we've talked about the digital disciplines, but we've still talked about digital disciplines in their own silos. We talk about search marketing, we talk about social, we talk about web analytics, we talk about display, we talk about them in their own little world. And as businesses and as agencies, we've tried to figure out how you bring those silos together. But I truly think we're evolving into a space now where we can start to think about how we merge and bring these disciplines together. And data is a massive driver of that. Because, you know, unlike any other areas, we've always had this ability to see data and understand data in different ways, but we've always kind of kept it separate. And it's only been in the last few years when we start to think about merging this together and thinking about how, as marketers, can we start to understand truly not last click wins or first click or on impression or on click or on conversion. Actually, how does the whole thing come together, and how can we bring the media that we have and the budgets that we have sat in those medias into one place and truly working within a relationship that can only, you know, drive forward ultimately positive things for our customers or for our businesses as we run it as marketers. So whether you love them or hate them, I hate silos. I've kind of moved on from that. I kind of think about the whole thing together now, and hopefully I'll convince you. As I say, what we like to do, and we did a survey the back end of last year, we went out and actually thought, let's look into this a little bit. So we went out and we interviewed 200 marketers who run in campaigns of 20 million plus to enable us to kind of figure out what we saw as what was out there in the marketplace today. We asked them loads of questions. You can get a whole copy of this survey if you want one from our website. But the thing that rang through here when we talked to the digital marketing community, maybe some of you guys filled this in for us. I don't know. Put your hand up if you want to, if you did. We can see that in the numbers, if it's showing up reasonably clear up there, there still is a long way to go. People still believe that they are, you know, 50% said we are kind of somewhat integrated in the whole piece. Some people said we're nowhere near. But what it proved is that there is a huge opportunity to actually look at how we integrate digital. And at the minute, I'm only talking about digital to you. We've got to think about offline as well and how we bring the whole piece together. But there's a long way and there's a long need to figure out how we break down those silos and bring the digital disciplines into one place. As I say, data has to be a leader of that. We live, as I say, now as marketers where transparency is huge. We can see everything. We can see how things are converting. You know, paid search probably 15 years ago was a main driver of that, and that's why it grew and accelerated so fast, was because you could literally see every click, every cost per click, every conversion, everything that was happening. It was the most transparent, intent-based media out there. Everybody was using it because literally as soon as somebody typed something into a search box, as marketers, we knew what they wanted. We actually presented them with the product that they needed. You know, gone are the days of kind of flashing stuff around. There's a great stat from Gartner that says that virtually, you know, the CIO will hold more marketing budget than the CMO by around about 2017. And I truly believe that what we're seeing in businesses today is that actually because of the data, the CIO is making a much, much bigger presence and bigger call within the marketing discipline than ever before. I mean, if we think back and we go back, you know, certainly when I was a lad and we had the exciting world of, it got really exciting when Channel 4 got launched. It's like skills. You know, we've got 4 TV channels to choose from now. Wow. Maybe some of you guys weren't even born when Channel 4 launched. You know, it's going back into the 80s. But marketing back then was easy. We had one area where effectively, you know, ultimately, we had limited access to get to people. So people would go and buy TV on a few channels. Big brands would get involved, and that would push out to the masses. We truly now live in a world where there are so many devices that we can market to people on. We're living in a world where people are constantly online. They're on device. They're in a motion where they're in a buying process. They're in a branding process. They're looking, they're researching, they're thinking about what they're doing. And a lot of the drivers of that are around TV, yes, but obviously now we're in mobiles. I mean, how many people have come here today with more than 2 devices? More than 3 devices? Yeah, so you can see our world literally revolves around the world that we live in, which is devices. I mean, I start the conference by saying, hey, let's get some tweets out there. It's mass reach and it's mass market, and there's many, many brands thinking about this in a different way, and as marketers, we have to adapt. So if we dial that back and think about probably the 2, you know, no offense to the display world, but you know, the 2 channels that really are driving this in the digital space, in search and social, and how we can think about bringing this together. The numbers are staggering. I mean, when you think about Google now generating 5.7 billion searches a day globally, you know, you think back 10 years, it was something like when they launched around about 9 million a day. It's come a huge long way. Search was something which marketers took time to figure out, and certainly agencies did when the paid disciplines came along. Facebook has 1.3 billion active users globally, ongoing. the numbers are staggering. And now we're starting to see growth in both of those channels from an ROI perspective as well. They're probably one of the first and second biggest ROI channels out there that we have today from a marketing media point of view. Bringing these two disciplines together as marketers in the simplest form when I'm talking about the whole thing, in some respects, is the key to success, and it's a good starting point. Because we know that the buyer's journey is fragmented. Gone are the day of people just going to a search engine or going to a website because they knew the brand and purchasing the product. It got a heck of a lot more complicated. And search and social intertwine with each other through to that sale, for sure. A couple of stats up there from Google, around 47% revenue comes from purchases made in more than one day and 65 in more than one cycle. Because us, as people now, we converse our opinions. We go to Google, we search, we find the product, we find it at the price that we'd like to have that product at, but then we go, well, is it the product for me? It's not just about the price. We go on Facebook, we ask our friends, we go on Twitter, we ask our Twitter community, hey, has anybody purchased this product? Is it good? Is it bad? People want the review, but it's not just the review on the review site anymore. It's the personal review from the people that you trust the most. I'll guarantee you guys have done it. I certainly have done it. But the whole buying cycle got more fragmented. So as marketers, we need to touch people through that process. I've put Pinterest on there because Pinterest is a really interesting place. I'm kind of like a paid media guy, so people kind of look at me like that. Pinterest is going to launch buy buttons within Pinterest now, and there's a huge amount of traffic available within Pinterest as well. So if I could give you any tips in some ways, if you're not thinking about Pinterest, please go and consider it after this because there's some huge opportunities there. Great little tool from Google. Obviously, slides are available afterwards. This is just a great little way of looking at thinking about assists. So we know that search is probably the best converting channel out there. We know that it converts really well. From an assist point of view, it's not that great in some respects. So for every conversion on search, you get one assist from search. Where social probably doesn't convert from an ROI perspective as well in its own silo as search. You just won't get to the same ROI from it unless just the nature of the business. But from an assist point of view, for every conversion on social, you get 2 assists from social. So actually using social to feed search, if you're not doing that today, is a really interesting concept to get involved with because the numbers are quite staggering. I mean, we certainly had a customer a year or so ago. Facebook just didn't cost in for them. They were literally saying, turn Facebook off. We looked into the data, and 47% of all of their conversions initiated from a Facebook ad. So, okay, Facebook on its own line in a silo didn't convert, but actually it was the main driver of most of the conversions for search as well. So I clearly guess what I'm trying to say is break down those silos. You can listen to me, but there's a huge amount of surveys out there. GroupMs, ComScores, Business.coms of this world have all gone out there and looked at if you bring search and social together. The numbers are pretty compelling. I mean, for instance, brands experience a 50% increase in search CTR after they've seen a social ad. These are companies that have gone out and looked at it. I'm going to rattle on, as I say, from the interest of time as well. We went and had a look at it as well. We looked at about 300 customers globally from a data point of view, just to kind of say, if you're running search and social in conjunction with each other, what does it come back and tell us? And I think the numbers are quite compelling in the sense of, we look at everything from what we call a RPC point of view, and a revenue point of view. So you can see from a point of view, if you just ran Facebook only for every dollar spent, it's up there, I think, yeah. You get less than $1 back. If you just run on Google and Bing, click only, it's about $1.5 to $1. If you run on Facebook, Bing, Google, all in one place, we're talking about over $3 for every dollar spent. Because the process of breaking the silo down and letting the two things work together in conjunction really does make a difference. There's a few speakers that are going to talk about, more into the depth of the stuff which I've got on this next slide. But truly, I think we're arriving in a world where we're talking about audience-based marketing. As search marketers, for many years, it's been hugely intent-based. We know that if people go and type in black, buy black running shoes, they're looking to buy black running shoes in a search box. What we never knew until today, or certainly a year ago, we didn't know who the person was behind the keyword search. So as marketers, we couldn't kind of go, well, was he male 40 years old, female 30 years old? What part of the country are they in? Yes, we could pull that data, but we didn't have the demographic of the audience of the person that was doing the search. With the invent of things like RLSA, we can actually think about how we get to the person behind the intent. And Facebook's a big driver of that. Obviously, on the other side of the fence, in Facebook and social, we can do targeting at demographic level like no other. because we can build out the audiences and understand the exact people who like or dislike those things, because in reality, we've all given it to Facebook, because we literally just consume, you know, our information about us literally just all gets put into Facebook. I'm not trying to scare anybody, but that's a fact. We kind of go, hey, Facebook, here we are, this is me. This is my world, this is the world I live in. So it's all there. So as marketers, we can go and target that. So truly intent and audience-based need to come together. Next slide. Yeah. And I think a big driver of that in this whole process is mobile. We're always on our mobiles. You know, for years we talked about the era of mobile. You know, going back to 2006, probably wasn't the era of mobile. Data wasn't great, things didn't move too fast, but I would say probably about 18 months ago we could truly stand here and say, you know, mobile is something that we can truly play in, and I think mobile is a big player going forward. The numbers are staggering of the amount of people, you know, that will be using mobile devices. So when 50% of digital ad spend is expected to be via a mobile ad format by 2019, we can see where mobile is going. 55% of all of Google's search queries now happen via a mobile device. You know, gone is the day of the desktop in some respects. So mobile is really pulling this together. 73% of everybody on Facebook accesses Facebook via a mobile device. And we don't mind being advertised to in Facebook on our mobile device because we see the conversion in the data. It's really getting the best out of the channels and using the strengths. I'm going to kind of whip through this next bit, as I say, to try and get us back into where we need to be for James to have his say as well. Technology is going to drive a lot of this. So intent gathering, behavioral gathering, demographic gathering, location gathering, all of the data that we want to use as marketers is going to be driven from data, which is going to be driven into technology. There are so many places out there, and I'm just throwing a few up here on the slide, that we can go and access and buy effectively FaceTime with our customers. Search is kind of okay because there's not that many places to access search outside of obviously Google, Bing, Yahoo, you know, nuances of Baidu or Yandex or those different markets out there across the globe. Display, there's about 1,000 places you can go and buy display advertising. And social, obviously Facebook's leading a big chunk of that. Twitter's kind of figuring it out, you know. Yes, they got rid of the CEO, but they've got a new one and they're going to try and figure out their model. They've got a huge amount of people using Twitter. I think they've just got a way to go to figure it out. So when we talk social, I truly, you know, think about the Facebook world that we live in. But we've just got to go and activate that audience. To say these slides are quite heavy, so I'm going to not hang around too much on these. But effectively, we've got to think about it in the context of, as marketers, of capture, build, activate, and engage. So obviously what we need to do as digital marketers is we need some form of tag solution to go and gather the information. We need to build out our intent of search. We need to go and think about the demographic of the people up behind it, and we've got to think about how they actually performed on the site. So obviously with tag solutions this day, we're not just thinking about what they came to the website from. We need to think about how they consume our content on the website and what they do and what they look at. You know, do they go to certain products? Do they look at products of a certain price? Do they get to the shopping cart and fall out? As marketers, we can use this information to go and activate the right customer in the right place. So Facebook's a really easy way to activate an audience. Facebook custom audiences. Go and build those out very, very quickly, and then we can engage within the social space. The area where we can think about that, of bringing it back into search, is something like Google RLSA. If we know an audience that's working really well on Facebook, and we're seeing good conversion from those ads, let's build those audiences out in search and fuel social into search. Because at the minute, a lot of people think about just taking the search intent data and letting that power what's going on in social and display. So there's a lot of opportunity there. We can segment our audiences, as I say. I'll put some quick slides in here just for you guys to think about ways of, you know, defining who your audiences are. You know, we've got high-value audiences, medium, low-value audiences, but we can drive to the right sorts of customers. I see businesses out there today who are considering who is an existing customer, who is a new customer, and thinking about where they place the ad and what message they put to that customer on Google. Because if it's, let's say it's an insurance company, and we know that the person who's just done the search is actually a customer already, and they only purchased a policy 3 months ago, let's choose not to even show them an ad, because they're just being lazy by using Google to try and get to the website. Let's not cost ourselves money. If it's not a customer, let's show them a great ad about why they should buy our product. If it's an existing customer with 6 weeks to go to renewing their policy, let's show them an ad which allows them to kind of come back in and think about renewing. As I say, I've listed some stuff out there from a high intent point of view. I'm just going to whiz through here, if that's okay, because I'm conscious, as I say. I'm going to try and keep this on time. Cross-device targeting is a really interesting place to play. As I say, we're going to get a lot of different opinions today, but we truly are moving into the world of mobile. And mobile is driving a lot of what we're seeing out there today. So I truly believe that, cracking the cross-device piece is very, very key. We're certainly seeing more and more companies building in things like SDKs into the URLs, so they can actually understand how people are consuming apps. I mean, that's not something I've even touched on today. The world of app-based marketing and app analytics is a really growing and very interesting place. We see, big publishers like Yahoo going and acquiring companies like Flurry. And Flurry is an application-based analytics solution to understand how people consume apps. The mobile is going to play interestingly into our space. Think about what's next. Think about, as marketers today, just thinking about search and social, I think we've kind of cracked that, in some respects. We all know how to use it. We just need to bring the world together. But I think in the world of media, it's going to change. So we think about TV. TV's always been, pick the telephone up, book it, could book it for a year and a phone call, done, get the slots, thanks very much. Probably in the world that we consume TV today, we don't watch a great deal of live TV anymore unless it's sporting-orientated events. We kind of record it, fast forward through the adverts, maybe watch it back on demand, like a BBC iPlayer or a Demand 5. Sky, last year, started doing some testing around actually preloading Sky boxes based against the owner of the box, the demographic, what they consume, with advertising that would appeal to them. So you guys might not even know that you have that, but it is occurring. I truly believe that TV will become like pre-roll video or YouTube. You will get to the point in a few years where you probably will actually purchase TV advertising slots in an auction-based criteria, the same as you would with paid search for the last 12 years. So I truly see that TV is going to move more into that sort of performance marketing model as well. Radio, there's already testing going on in the likes of Spotify for advertising slots. Certainly Blinkbox has been doing some of it as well. So I see radio moving again into an auction-based performance marketing type scenario. Outdoor, we see it today. Less and less billboards is the guy going around, pasting up the paper. They're still out there. But more and more now, the boxes that you see around London, around Manchester, are connected to the internet. So actually they can preload the advertising without even having to go to the, go to the bus stop or whatever it might be. And with mobile, we can start to think about how we overlay, how we advertise what's on that board to the person that walks past the board, or the nature of the people that live in that area, because by the nature of the mobile, we know where you are and you're always switched on. So I can see that happening. Maybe it's a bit far, but it doesn't seem to work too well for Google, but I can start to see how we think about us always being on and always being in the line of vision. I mean, I cracked a joke a few years back, probably 10 years back, saying that Google at some point will install chips in the backs of everybody's head. We'll all be kind of registered at Google and we'll see all the stuff coming through that way. You never know, I guess, but Google's first stab at that is probably the Google Glass. I think there's a bit of a way to go yet before everybody's starting to wander around wearing Google glasses. But the mobile will certainly play a part in that. So I think for just setting a scene and thinking about the world that we live in today, get away from the silo thing. I hate them personally. Hopefully you guys will love to hate them. Think audience and think intent, because more and more now as marketers, and you'll hear from speakers today talking about it, we truly can bring audience intent-based data, out of what was the world of display or TV, very much into our world that is search now, with the intent. It's a hugely powerful concept. And obviously the mobile world that we live in will only continue to grow and exist and move us forward in the ecosystem. So without further ado, I'm going to move on. That was my quick 20-minute rant to kind of set a scene in some respects, but we'll move on to the speakers of the day. But I wanted to kind of give you guys some thoughts and some things to think about as we go through the day and some theories around that. But thank you for 20 minutes from me, and I'll move into my chairing role now.